Jai Gurudev. Jai Masters. There's so much stress on meditation and yoga and different techniques. And that's wonderful. Obviously, it's wonderful to do practices that help you. There's not enough stress on understanding, and I've discussed this with you before, we're going to go very deep tonight, that you live inside yourself. You don't live outside. You live inside. And inside, there are thoughts and there are emotions. There's also chi, shakti, energy, but don't worry about that. There's thoughts and emotions. That's what you live with. If I say, hi, you in there? You say yes. And I ask you, how are you doing in there? I'm not asking you how big your house is. I'm not asking you what kind of car you drive. I'm not asking you if you're married or not. I'm not asking you if you have children. And I ask you that. Hi, in there? How you doing in there? That's the spiritual question. It transcends these techniques. It's called reality. So the answer is, for almost everybody, with rare exception, the answer to that question, depending how honest you want to be, is anywhere from, I'm okay, I'm working on it, it's better than it was, I'll get by. Those are the answers you get when you ask somebody, how you doing, right? Or, I can't handle it. I can't handle it. It's overwhelming. I'm just completely overwhelmed. I can't. Whoa. All you're doing is describing how it's doing in there. You're describing the weather you're in inside yourself. The real approach to spirituality, the real approach to growth, is to sit there and say, that's your house. You live in there. What are you doing to clean up, to make it a nice place to live? And don't tell me I'm trying to find a boyfriend. That's not how you try to find a nice place to live inside, by somehow making a deal with somebody outside that doesn't even know you. I don't care if you how long they don't even know you. You're the only one in there. No one's been in there. He ain't getting in there. You are the only person living in there. Nobody else can fix what's wrong inside. It's your house. It's where you live. Yes, things can happen outside that distract you, that give you hope, that seem promising. So yes, things outside can affect the inside for a very, very short period of time. I don't mean 2 minutes, but even a year or two or something like that. It's like you get used to people. They don't turn you on anymore. You get used to this. Maybe you've caught on, all right? It's because it distracts you. You listen to this. Things are exciting outside and look promising outside, and you have yearning and desire for them because they distract you from your inside. If you go on a vacation and it's exciting and you take rides and you're with somebody you like, oh my God, that's so great. Why? I didn't have to experience myself during that week. A little bit I did, but not a whole lot. Less than usual. So basically your consciousness became distracted by something noisy, something exciting. Like if all of a sudden a bright light or a big noise happened outside, you wouldn't be reading your book anymore. It would be distracted. Your consciousness would be distracted. Things outside are capable of distracting your consciousness. Watch a good TV show. Go to a good movie. Why is a good movie so great? Imagine 2 hours vacation from yourself. That's what it is. If the movie was not entertaining enough, what does that mean? It captured your consciousness. If it was not entertaining enough, it was not distracting enough, you'd be sitting in a dark theater with strangers next to you, waiting for the thing to be over, thinking about your mortgage, thinking about all the problems you have. And somebody asks you, how was the movie? Terrible. So understand what's happening. Nobody's taking anything away from you. Nobody's telling you to renounce the world. Just understand you live inside. And it is not so nice in there. There are all kinds of emotions. There are all kinds of thoughts. And I don't think you'll argue with me that if somebody, no, I hope they don't, was able to get in there and put all of your emotions and all of your thoughts on Times Square big TV, you'd freak. You'd be terribly embarrassed. Why? Because they're not nice. It's not nice in there. You feel insecurity, you feel jealous, you feel self-conscious, you feel embarrassment, you feel anger, you feel all kinds of things, don't you? It's a grab bag of stuff going on in there. It's like it's not pleasant. And your thoughts, I don't even want to talk about it. I can't believe that you will tolerate that your mind talks to you the way it does. You're no good. You know you're no good. You're going to fail at this. Don't even bother. Don't even bother. You fail at every single thing you do. All right? Oh, you don't look like an idiot. Look at you now. You catch up on your pants. Don't even go back to work. It's so my... Who in the world? You talk about a bully. There is no bully outside that is more than the bully going on inside. The trouble is you identify with it as you. You don't see that as a voice talking in your head. You don't see that as thoughts that are coming up for some reason or another that you have to listen to and you're becoming overwhelmed with. You say, that's me. No, it's not you. You are the one who is hearing those thoughts. If you come to me and say, oh my God, Mickey, my mind's bothering me. Ever since such and such happened, it won't stop. How do you know? How do you know that? I don't know that. I look at you, I don't see a thing. How do you know? Because I'm in here and I can experience it. That's very deep. That's the essence of spirituality. Not I am it. I am in here experiencing it. That is the truth of your heart also. The human heart emits and emotes some very intense things. Does it not? Okay, it gets very interesting. Even if it likes something, it gets weird. It wants to own it. It wants to grab a hold of it. It wants it to be exactly the way it wants to be. Hey, I thought you said you loved me. How could you have said that? It's basically, I'm in here, I am not okay. Do you understand that? And your behavior has made me feel worse. I'm out of here. So that's basically what you do. It's not working for me anymore. It's the end of that relationship. Chalk it up. A wise person wakes up at some point in their life and realizes, I live in here. These are my thoughts. These are my emotions. The fact that they react to something outside, they're still my emotions. They're still my thoughts. I can't let anybody else own my emotions and my thoughts. They don't even understand me. They don't even understand where they come from. They don't know a single thing. No matter how hard somebody tries, they will never, ever not hit you the wrong way sometimes. Have you noticed? I don't care if they devote their entire life to you. They're going to say something or do something inadvertently, not purposely, and it's going to freak you out. It's going to make you get scared. It's going to make you feel bad. It's going to make you not trust them. Why? Because you have that inside of you. And if you have it inside of you, it's going to get hit eventually. So a wise person wakes up and says, and I love this, these are my thoughts, these are my emotions, therefore they are my responsibility. That's when you've woken up. So it's no longer, what do I need to do to not get hurt? What do I need to do to make sure he doesn't say this or she doesn't do this or nobody looks at me wrong? No. It's not about other people. It's not about the outside and what it does. It is about you living inside yourself and making it nice in there. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So what do you mean making it nice in there? There are reasons that the emotions are the way they are. There are reasons that the thoughts are the way they are. And they are different for every one of you. And eventually you're going to see what I always teach you. I'm going to do it very simply tonight. Your thoughts and your emotions are the sum of your learned experiences. And psychology agrees. That's what they teach. You've had experience before. You met somebody who was redheaded and he was really nice to you. Now all of a sudden a redhead walks up, your heart starts to open. Doesn't it? Somebody's name, somebody's this, the way somebody talks to you, whatever the heck it is. Somebody else says the exact same thing to somebody else, it freaks them out. But basically, you are in here. Your emotions have been programmed by your past experiences. The fact that you feel open to somebody, the fact that you feel close to somebody, those are learned experiences. The fact that your mind says, I like this, I don't like this, I want this, I don't want that, learned experiences. All right? There's so many examples, it's ridiculous. You're walking down the street and all of a sudden the guy, a kid in a bicycle, goes riding by and almost knocks you off the side of the street. And he's just not even paying attention, he's just riding. Well, that freaks you out. I mean, ridiculous how kids are today and so on, right? Then you go home and read a book where some kid's got a bicycle and he's the hero and you really feel close to him. Next day, the same kid rides by, does the exact same thing, and you feel love for him. Well, that was just a learned experience by reading a book. And the opposite happens too. You're madly in love with somebody. You just met them. They might be your soulmate. You've been out 3 times. Oh my God, you can't wait to go out again. All of a sudden your best friend comes to you and says, "You're dating George? You better go talk to Sally about how that turned out for her." Next time you see George, I guarantee you don't feel the same thing you felt before she said that. These are learned reactions. They are learned experiences. If your best friend comes back later and says, "Oh, I didn't know it was George Wilson. I thought it was George Stewart." No, he's a great guy. Learned experiences. This is not you liking and disliking. You are the one who's experiencing the experience of like and dislike. You're the same person. When you sat there and you felt love for the guy, that was you feeling love. When you felt disdain or fear or anxiety, that's you experiencing anxiety. It's the same consciousness in there, isn't it? There's only one of you in there. It's not like one of you felt love and the other felt anxiety. Yes, you noticed I used to feel love and now I feel anxiety. Same person. There's only one of you in there. Don't go looking for yourself somewhere else. You are the consciousness, the awareness of being, who is aware of all these different parts of your being. You have lots of parts of your being, don't you? All of them were made by learned experiences. And guess what? Psychology agrees with me completely. If you literally have a split personality, they will go back to see what events happened to you that created these personalities. It's not weird. It's understanding how the mind creates its thoughts. And it is the sum of your learned experiences. That's 99% of every thought and every emotion that you deal with is your learned experiences. So you wake up and you realize, yes, I am sitting on top of a volcano that is of my own making. It is the sum of my learned experiences. And it is deciding what my mind says, what my thoughts are, and it is deciding what my heart feels. And that's the truth, period. So you wake up one day and you say, that's not okay. That's not okay. I'm not a robot. I'm not programmed by my past experiences. I am in here aware that those are my past experiences. Who am I? Who am I that notices? Every one of you, when I said, is it not true your emotions and thoughts and so on are based on your past experiences? They come back up, don't they? And they haunt you. Sometimes they're very specific. I remember when my mother did it. It was 30 years ago. What was that all about? Past experiences. All right? So how do you know this? Because I'm conscious. It always comes back to, I am the conscious being who is aware of the thoughts and aware of the emotions. Now I'm aware of a little bit more. I'm aware that the emotions are not me. They're something that are coming up by programming of my past experiences. And the thoughts are not me. They change all the time based on my new experiences and past experiences. And basically, I am aware of this. That's the whole key to getting out. It's not a question of undoing your past experiences. And it sure as heck, let me just get it out. It's not a question of attempting to manipulate and control every moment of your life so that they match your past experiences. You know how busy you're going to be? What is the probability you can control everybody and everything that comes into your environment so that it hits the part that was nice and doesn't hit the part that was not nice of your past experiences? 0. You know that. You've been alive. Right? There's 0 possibility that the moments are going to unfold that way. They're going to unfold the way they unfold, but they're going to hit you inside in accordance to your past experiences. Do you understand this? You're hanging out with the wrong part of your being. What's happening is you're not comfortable with the heart when it goes south, so you do everything you can to make sure it doesn't happen. That nobody talks to you that way or nobody says this. Because you can't handle your past experiences, that's why you stored them in there, you couldn't handle them, now you can't handle life. Life has to be the way it matches your past experiences. And that's how human beings live. And they waste their entire lives by going out there and trying to manipulate and control the world so that when it comes in, it doesn't cause disturbance and maybe it causes some good feeling. A wise person will never play that game, never in a billion years. They sit there and say, I'm in here, my thoughts are in here, my emotions are in here. They are my responsibility. If I got bad thoughts going on in here, they're my responsibility. If I have bad reactions in my heart going on in here, that's my responsibility. Now the question becomes, you never thought of it that way. What do you mean it's my responsibility? What can I do about it? Everything. Okay, that's what you're going to find out. Let's start talking about what it can be like in there. Beautiful. When? Always. Take the highest you've ever experienced. feeling love, joy, inspiration, new job, raise, lottery turned on, new car, whatever you felt inside at the highest moment you ever felt it, going on all the time, ever new, feeding you constantly inside. That is how it is supposed to be. Just like a body can be healthy, body was meant to be healthy. Why do you think it has immune systems and all these systems to try and take care of itself? What is the characteristic of a healthy body? You don't have to think about it. You go about your business because it's in good shape. That should be what your heart and your mind are like. You have to worry about them. You don't have to think about them. It doesn't matter what happens outside. You're fine inside. You're healthy. You're whole. You're vibrant. Ooh, I'd like to be like that, right? That doesn't mean you don't interact with the world, but you don't interact with the world out of need. You interact with the world out of love, joy, inspiration, like an artist interacts. You're expressing the beauty that's inside of you every moment of your life, with every person you interact with every job you take, with every single thing you do. You're not trying to get something. You're not trying to control something. Imagine what that would be like. You're already okay. The ultimate would be, I don't have to worry about what job I get. Why? They all look exciting. Whoa, that would be nice. Well, there's a bunch of tasks that are going to be handed out of the job. I can't wait to see which one I get, because they all look great. Wow, that would be fun, wouldn't it? Okay? And you go out there, I tell you, be the best employee that ever lived, because you're actually giving yourself to your job. You're not going in there saying, I don't want to be here. Pay me more to have to be here. Look at that. He got more than I did. I should. What are you doing? You're basically saying, I'm not okay, and this job's supposed to make me be okay. What do you want to bet it can't? What do you want to bet that no matter what it does, you will be dissatisfied? You can't fix what's wrong with you inside by changing things outside. It doesn't work like that. So now we get to the core. I get there early. Assume you understand what I'm saying. How do I do this? Let's say I want to do this. I want to clean up my apartment. I want to make it beautiful inside. All right. Are you capable? Yes. Everybody's capable. I taught 30 years in a maximum security prison. I went in and talked like this to the men. Every one of them, they still write me, right? They get it. It's theirs. They live in there. Nobody else lives in there. Complain all you want. It's yours. You make your inner environment. Now the question is, what are you doing with it? And what you're going to see is I'm not doing anything. I'm just letting it be what it is. I'm letting it be the default, which is the sum of the learned experiences. Something happens, it hits me, I freak. Something happens, it hits me nice, I go running after it. I'm a reaction machine, aren't you? Look at your emotions. They just go crazy. And then when they go crazy, you go crazy. And then you cause all kinds of trouble. What are the emotions supposed to be like? If you have a flow of water and you put cold, air on it, it starts to create ice. It starts to create cubes and sheets of ice and so on. And the water behaves in accordance to that ice. Your emotions, all of your emotions, are made of pure love. They're made of pure God. They're made of pure Shakti, pure spirit. There's just this beautiful flow of energy pouring up through your heart all the time, period. There's nothing else but that. The trouble is, you block that energy. Because of these past experiences you've had, that energy can't flow. And that block has the effect of freezing the energy, and it takes different shapes. The very same energy that's beauty takes the shape of ugliness, takes the shape of fear, takes the shape of anger, takes the shape of insecurity. These are blocked energy patterns that now you have to deal with because you froze them. If you were to release them, they would melt back into their pure energy form, and they would start feeding you with this beautiful flow. All that happens when you have a beautiful flow, you meet somebody or something happens nice, is the energy found a way to make it around the ice cubes. And then all of a sudden, whoa, it feels good. I don't want you to have to do that. I don't mind it. I like you to have nice experiences. I would just like there to be no ice cubes. I would just like there to be just absolute beautiful energy where there used to be anger and fear and insecurity and jealousy and need and self-consciousness and embarrassment. You know about all those things? No more. No more. The energy just flows up, and it's so strong that it feeds you to the depth of your being, and you feel no need. If you have this flow of energy flowing inside of you, and it is feeding you to the depth of your being, there is no desire. There's just fulfillment. So it is not a matter of renouncing things. It is not a matter of denying your desires or anything like that. It is a matter of doing much deeper work so that the energy is fulfilled, it's whole, it's feeding you. You just be totally satisfied. The Bible, when Christ said, man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that leaveth the mouth of the Father. That's what we're talking about. You don't live strictly by what's coming in from the outside. That's your bread. There's this flow of energy that's coming from the source, and it's just flowing all the time, and you live off of that. Man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that leaveth the mouth of the Father. So now, again, how do I do this? I wanted to spend most of my time tonight on how do I do this? How, if you wanted to go about cleaning up in there so that it's beautiful all the time, and don't you doubt what I'm telling you, how it's beautiful all the time, how do you do that? My experience is, 1, be aware that over the course of your life, you have stored problems inside of you. Every single thing that ever happened that bothered you is still in there, and you know it. It comes back up, it haunts you, people remind you of somebody, a smell, you walk a smell, you get all upset. Somebody says something with a certain little hardness at the end, like your mother used to when she yelled at you, and you're not comfortable anymore, I want to leave. Literally, you don't even know why you do what you do. I'm just not comfortable here anymore. Can we leave? I want to go. Why? You don't even know what happened. You have this garbage stored inside of you. Why? Because you stored it there. Nobody else made you. Why can't you be fine? Your husband left. You get sick. Things happen. What's wrong with that? Things take place. I broke my arm once when I was little. Okay, what does that mean? I don't go anywhere. I don't play sports. No, that's ridiculous. It's like, yeah, I broke my arm once. I'm a knower of broken arms. Wasn't so bad. It's kind of fun. They wrote all over the cast. Which kind of person you want to be? Traumatized because you broke your arm? Or fun? It was exciting. It was a neat experience. Every single experience you have is capable of passing through you and leaving you a better person. Period. You become wholer because you have experiences. You don't want to not have any experiences. And I'm telling you, you do not get to choose your experiences. That's what you think you're trying to do. Here's what your mind does. Based on my past experiences, I want to decide what experiences I want to have. And based on my past experience, I want to decide experiences I don't want to have. So I now have a want, not want. Don't I? Now, I know it's not going to happen by itself. I'm going to go out there and dress a certain way and act a certain way and do a certain thing and smell a certain way. Yeah, that too. All right? And everything, whatever it is. And I'm just going to sit there and manipulate everybody who gets near me in every single situation so that I create the situations that make happen what I want to happen and don't that. And that is what you do with every second of your life. And it's war. From the time you wake up in the morning, you're at war. You know, worry about what to wear, worry about what to say, worry about what you said. That's my favorite. Have a conversation with somebody, you walk away. What happens inside? God, I shouldn't have said that. That was so, what did he think of? Oh my God, that was so stupid. Do you want to live like that? Because you're going to live like that unless you do something about it your entire life. The way I look at it, I started looking at it this way when I was 21 years old, is I'm on a planet spinning on a little totally empty space. How about you? Totally empty space. There's nothing going on. It's just an empty black space everywhere for as far as anybody can see. And I'm in a little tiny planet spinning around. And that's what I'm doing? Being neurotic? Worrying about what I said? I mean, no, it's not going to happen. There's no way I'm living my life that way. But you are going to live it that way if you're not careful. Because that is the sum of your learned experiences. And that's what's going to come up in your head. And that's what's going to come up in your heart. So what do you do about it? You start by noticing it is true. I get hit. My past experiences get hit all the time by these events that are happening outside. That's disturbing. And new events happen. And when they're not comfortable, I do the same thing. I store them inside. They leave marks inside of me. How about you? Well, I would highly advise stopping that. Like if you're eating food that makes you sick, you can tell me go to the doctor. You can tell me what vitamins you should take. I would highly advise stopping eating food you ate that's making you sick. That's a much better way to do it than trying to put something on top of it. So if you're meditating because you can't be peaceful, if you're doing yoga, which you should, and you're doing yoga and you're doing these different things, But along with, why don't you come to the root and try to fix what you messed up inside? You're the one who stored this stuff inside. Don't you dare think somebody else did it. Somebody else may have done something, but it's over. Your parents got divorced when you were 6. They don't keep getting divorced. It's over. Why is it not over inside of you? You honestly believe that there's some super glue in there or something, that events can't make it through you? Every single event is exactly the same. It's a bunch of atoms moving past your eyeballs. It's electrons, neutrons, and protons putting themselves together and kind of flowing by, and you can't handle it. And so certain ones that you don't like, that you don't feel comfortable with, you suppress, just like Freud said. You suppress them, you push them away, you do not want them inside of you. That's what you find out when you grow spiritually. I suppress these things. I push them away. I would rather let them go. I would rather let them pass through me. If they're not comfortable, that's all the more reason I want it to pass through me. But it was a very uncomfortable experience because you don't understand. It made my heart hurt, and it was a very, very, very difficult time. I do understand. Of course I understand. Now I'm just going to ask you a question. That was a tough time, wasn't it? You wanted it inside of you for the rest of your life? Or you wanted it to be over? That's the decision of spirituality. There is no justification for keeping that stuff inside of you. It does not do one single bit of good. All it does is do harm. It makes you scared. It makes you neurotic. All kinds of stuff goes on because you stored this stuff inside. So you wake up, I'm being very strong with you tonight. You wake up and you say, I'm going to get this stuff out. I'm going to get this stuff out. Period. Okay, I'm going to tell you a secret. And I'm fully in favor of you meditating, yoga, everything. You know I am. You meditate for an hour. And then you go out there and get your stuff hit and get all involved in it and get emotional. You just offset 6 hours. Eat good food. Then go out there and pig out on Twinkies and Cokes and see how you feel. But I ate good food. It doesn't matter. You did something destructive, and it offset all the good you tried to do. It is exactly the same that if you are not willing to work on yourself and stop carrying this stuff inside of you, stop collecting bad experiences. That's how I want to say it. Why would you want to collect bad experiences? All right, it's ridiculous. Bad enough you had to have a bad experience. Let it be over. Yeah, your parents got divorced when you were 8. Okay, fine. It was difficult. But you're 43 years old. You're not supposed to be bothered by things that are not happening. It's bad enough you're bothered by things that are happening. If you take every single situation that ever bothered you and keep it inside of you, like in a storehouse of bothered things, right? How's that going to work out? You're going to be a bothered person. Do you understand that? That's why the thoughts are so negative. That's why the heart has so much trouble. Every single personality problem, and we're full of them, is because we have stored this garbage inside. And what you'll find out someday is you need to undo that. You will not be okay with that garbage inside of you. So what do? That becomes the real understanding. You get to a point, and I want you to get there, so I keep pushing this, where you feel like creepy having that stuff inside of you. It's like being inside of a vat of roaches and snakes and, I don't want to be in here, right? So you can't get out, but you can clean it up. How do you clean it up? I've taught you that 1,000,000 times. This is real spiritual growth. You never, ever blame anything on anything. It's just the world is unfolding, and you can't handle it because it's hitting your stuff. And you get weird, you get overwhelmed, you get tired, you get angry, you get all kinds of stuff. Every single one of those things inside is your stuff getting hit. So you stand up inside, regain your kingdom, and sit there and say, I'm going to clean up. Now the first thing you do is there's 2 main things you do. 1, stop putting stuff in there. If a car in front of you is driving slower than the speed limit and you're getting frustrated and upset, 3 blocks later they turn off. You're still upset. You're going to go tell people what an idiot driving 15 miles over the speed limit. Oh my God. And next time you see a car that's that color, you're going to get bothered. It will still hit it. You stored it inside of you. What a silly thing to do about a car driving in front of you and not the speed you want. Those are the places I want you to work. Yes, I think meditation is very important. Yes, you should do that. Yoga is wonderful. You should do that. Mantra is wonderful. Any of these practices are wonderful. But if you're not doing this, you're not going anywhere. You'll be using your meditation to offset the fact that you didn't do this. I had a rough day. It's overwhelming. I need to meditate. Okay, fine. It's just going to stay like that. You'll be in that cycle. You have to break the cycle. How do you break the cycle? You become conscious. Meditation helps with that. You become conscious enough, and this is where I need you to be. You become conscious enough to where when you're driving behind the car and your mind is starting to puke all over the place and your heart's starting to get uptight, you remember this talk. You remember, what am I doing? It's not changing the driver in front of me. In fact, every word I say to them, they're not even hearing me. I'm just making myself ugly. So why don't I do something about it? Now, once you're there and you're conscious and you've made a commitment, I'm going to clean up in here. Now you're ready to go to work. So what do you do about it? Don't tell me, I decided I didn't want it, it was still going on. Well, of course it is. You have a habit. You have your past experiences pushing all this stuff up. So you get to the point where you decide, I need to do something about it. All right? So I'm driving. I'm conscious. I see it start. You have to do it the minute it starts. It's not okay 2 seconds later. It's not okay 10 seconds later. The moment you notice, here it comes. Here comes my stuff, complaining about the driver, complaining about the fact that it's raining. There you go. Complaining about the weather. You're not going to change the weather. All you're going to do is make yourself a mess. So the minute it starts, remember, this is a time to practice letting go. How do you do that? That's really your business. It really fits into how your personality is. Me, what I learned to do is the moment I see it, I relax. I just relax. Relax the shoulders, relax the tummy, relax. When you are relaxed, you can't engage. It's like judo, right? When you're relaxed, you can't engage, you can't resist. So if you're relaxed behind it, it will come, it'll make its little noise, and you let it go, whatever you can. Another is you decide to do positive thinking. You decide to say something different than your mind would have said. You take control of your own mind. So the mind would say, oh, man, why is she driving like that? I'm in a rush. Oh, my God, why are people like this? Everybody's like this, and the whole world's so screwed up. It just goes off on this stupid rampage. So instead, the moment, and I mean the moment it starts, you go in there and say, God, it's a beautiful day. I love this. And you know, that driver in front of me is making me smell the roses. Slow down and smell the roses. Thank you. I know you don't feel like you want to say that. You make it say that. Because what you feel is a result of that past storage junk that's coming up. Well, if you don't want to go with it, you have to create an alternative. And that's what positive thinking is. You just decide that. So you start saying, I love it, I like it, I'm having a great time, it's beautiful, and just say nice things. Why? Because if you're eating good food, it makes you feel better than bad food. It's that simple. And don't come back to me, but it's not real. I don't really feel that way. I don't care. The way you really feel is not who you are. The way you really feel is just the result of these past experiences that you've had that have made you a neurotic mess. So if you keep hanging out with that and claiming that's really me, it's not really you. You are the one who's noticing you have this broken mind and broken heart inside of you. Well, one way to fix it is to you take control of the mind and you start saying something nice. All right? That's what we call positive thinking. Something a little bit off from that, but not a whole lot, is something called a mantra. Here's 95% of a mantra. You have stuff going on inside your mind. So what you do is you sit there and say, right now, my mind is being used by these suppressed and repressed garbage things, and they just keep coming up. So I'm going to use my mind willfully. How? I'm going to take a phrase. I don't care if it's Om Namah Shivaya. I don't care if it's God, God, God. I don't care if it's love, love, love. Just take a simple phrase and say it over and over again. And you know what's going to happen? You ever get a song stuck in your head? I want that phrase stuck in your head. I want that every time you slow down for a minute, you're driving your car, you're doing this, you're talking, then you settle back. I want that thing coming back. God, 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 whatever you want, right? Take something and say it over and over again. When you're meditating, you say it. You're driving, say it. People use mala beads to say it with each bead. Whatever it is, that's the whole thing behind that. Train the mind to settle into this repetitive thing. Why? Because then when you're driving and you're minding your own business and all of a sudden the driver in front of you isn't driving the way you want to drive and your mind starts to give its garbage, all of a sudden the mantra's still going on. So one side is sitting here saying, God, God. You now have a choice. Your consciousness has a choice. Who do you want to hang out with? Hang out with God, God, God? Or do you want to hang out with the garbage? That's the power of a mantra. And it's very powerful. You've given yourself the right to create your own inner environment. You're in charge of your environment. And these are tools for practicing getting away from the garbage. Well, what's going to happen? If I'm driving and I had a bad day yesterday and the driver is driving slow and I'm just expressing it through all this vile talk inside my head, but then I hang out with positive thinking, I hang out with a mantra, a breathing, you can watch your breath, whatever it is. Even watching your breath, right? I'm driving, go on. If you meditate on your breath, you'll find yourself noticing your breath during the day. Well, what's so good about that? Instead of watching my mind, I'm watching my breath. Every single thing you do to remove your consciousness from its addiction to this garbage that you stored inside gives it an opportunity to release. So if I hang out with the mantra or with positive thinking or whatever, or breathing, when any of these things are fine, whatever fits you, if I hang out with something other than this noise, you're going to find out that little by little it stops because you're not feeding it. It's just like a kid who throws a tantrum. What do you do in the department store if your kid throws a tantrum? Hit him? No, I don't think I want to do that. Okay. Give him what he wants? That's not a good idea. You have to be able to handle what's going on and then deal with the energies afterwards. It's the same thing inside yourself. Your mind is going to create garbage. It's going to create problems, and your heart is going to feel the problems your mind is creating. You have a whole environment inside. It's your inner environment. If you will work, I gave you this tiny little thing to work with, just all day, just the low-hanging fruit. If you have a moment to drive your car, to be here, to be there, and nothing's happening, why are you bothering yourself? Why are you thinking about what bothered you yesterday? Why are you worried about what will happen 20 years from now? What kind of an environment are you creating for yourself to live in? So don't tell me you're not doing this. So instead, you do something else. You do these techniques. You do these things that allow you to be in charge. I want you in charge of your inner environment. That's what I want. I want you in charge of your inner environment. Do not let it just go run by itself. So now you're doing this with these small things. I want you to start with the small things. Don't worry about the big ones. Don't worry. Just the small stuff. Every day there's stuff that's bothering you that is meaningless. Sally doesn't say hello. George stands too close. Too many people get in the elevator. My God, how many things bother you? You're in New York, try to flag a taxi and someone else takes it. He's gone. Like it's bad enough you had the experience. Now what's going to happen? You're going to bother yourself forever? No, you can't do this. You are ruining yourself. If an experience happens and you have the experience, sit on top of it immediately. Don't suppress it. Just realize it was a bad experience and I don't want it inside of me. I have the right not to have it inside of me. So the guy takes the cab and he goes, he probably needed it more than me. Whoa, your mind not going to like that one. It's okay. It's okay. I'm fine. I'm fine because I said I am. Versus I said I'm not, and then I'm not. The mind is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Do you understand that? If you meet somebody and your mind says, I don't like him, I just don't like him, guess what? You don't. If all of a sudden your mind says, oh, I like him, I think this is important, then you do. Because you're so identified with your mind, whatever it says is what happens. And I'm telling you, there's nothing holy about what it says. It's just the result of this garbage stored stuff. So you do not ever let your guard down. You do not ever take a position that, well, maybe it's right. I'm not doing well, and I should listen to it, and maybe I should. What are you doing? It's like telling the kid who's throwing a tantrum, all right, you're right. What do you want? Which toy do you want? No mother would ever do that. Nobody in their right mind would sit there and ruin the child. You do it with yourself all the time. So you wake up. This is my house, and I'm going to be nice in here. Why? Because I said so. No other reason. It doesn't have to be justified. I don't need to prove that I had the right to be okay. You have the right to be okay. And then you start doing with some bigger stuff. It starts to be fun. You learn, just like you learn anything else. You learn to be able to do this. And so more and more, you're able to work with yourself. And then something happens. Somebody yells at you. This happens. Your car gets a scratch. Some real big thing happens on the planet Earth. And you decide to handle it the same way. And you just little by little work with it. I call it neutralizing it. Neutralize. So your car got a scratch. Your new car got a scratch. There it is. First scratch. Right? Guess what? What are you going to do about it? It's scratched. You want to have it fixed? Have it fixed. No problem. Can't afford to have it fixed, or you figure it's going to get more scratches. So I'm not going to go out there and worry about every single scratch. Why let it bother you? Neutralize it. Sit there and say, I got a new car. It gets a scratch. Oh, wow. First scratch. Don't have to worry about it anymore. Thank you. Find something beautiful in everything. Find some way to neutralize the negativity that you tend to enwrap things in. You're at home, you're cooking dinner, everything else, and your spouse comes in and had a bad day and just goes walking right through that house and goes in a room and slams the door. Whoa! Okay, what are you going to do about that? Because I'm telling you, it will determine your marriage. Not that he or she did that. No, that's just what happened. Everybody gets to have a bad day. You've had them too. It's what you did with it that determines the rest of your life. Because I'm telling you, one of those instances, and your mind starts saying, well, I worked all day for that. I didn't put up with this. I don't want day two. I don't feel good about this anymore. That's just ridiculous. I don't want to be treated like this. Go on, go do that. See what happens to your relationship. And don't you dare blame it on the other person. You did that. The other person had a bad day. They walked through the house and slammed the door. Fine. Right? Took 2 seconds. You kept it. So you learn to start neutralizing. You sit there and say, oh, he or she must have had a bad day. All right, fine. I get dinner alone. I like it. Right? Just do something. Do something to create beauty of everything. Positive. So you basically learn to create beauty inside yourself for no reason other than it's beautiful inside yourself. That's called the real work. And you start working with this, and little by little, you get good at it. At first, it gets some low-hanging fruit. It starts getting much nicer in here than it used to be. All right? Well, then something's going to happen inevitably that's bigger than what you were ready to do with this. And you have to decide. Because nothing is worth taking away your inner environment. Nothing. And don't say to me, but I have to deal with things. If you're not doing well inside and you're all disturbed, you're not going to deal very well. If that child's throwing a tantrum and you're freaking out and you're embarrassed, and I don't want to see what you do with that child, do you? If on the other hand, you've handled it, you're calm and clear, now deal with it. I'm sure you can deal with it. Nobody's telling you not to deal with things. They're telling you don't deal with it because you can't handle it. That's no way to deal with something. I can't handle it. Handle it. Get calm. Neutralize it. Don't store it inside of you. This is what you learn to do. This is the work of your life. And I'm telling you, you each day will get better at it. It's something you do every minute of every day. Just work with yourself. If you will neutralize the energies, then what's going to happen is these old stuff is going to start to come up. It will come up by itself. You don't need a therapist. You can have one. I don't care. It's fine. That's just another way of working with it. But I'm telling you, you got one or not, it's coming up. Why? Because you stopped shoving stuff down new. The old stuff can come up. And you want it to come up. But it hurts. It was stored with pain. It's coming back with pain. But it's the pain that ends all pain. Well, how do I work with it? It won't come up till you're ready. So if you work with all these easier things, then the right sequences will come up. You won't think so, but they are. And you learn to do the same thing. Same thing, whatever happens to you. Somebody told me the other day that they get yelled at. Sometimes we get yelled at. Anybody ever get yelled at? This is how I look at it. No one is yelling at you. You just happen to be standing in a place on the planet Earth where somebody is yelling. I guarantee you, if they're yelling, if it wasn't you, it would be somebody else. The yelling has nothing to do with you, does it? If they got something to say to you that's constructive, they ain't me yelling. It's not them dumping their stuff. If they got stuff in there and they're using the excuse of what you did or didn't do to release their stuff, they ain't got nothing to do with you. Can you stay centered during that experience? That's graduate school. But that's where I want you. And I want you to be able to walk away from that experience not emotional, not freaked out. I want you to be neutral. I'm clear. And the things you say in that experience are based on wisdom. So maybe what you sit there and say when they're busy yelling and they're through yelling and they say, what do you got to say about it? Say, well, you said a lot of things. I've noted some things down. Let me look at them. Let's see what we can do to improve the situation. I don't necessarily agree with everything you said, as you know I wouldn't, but I want to think about it. I want to work on it. I'll get back to you. Whoa, that's pretty high, isn't it? That's pretty clear. What harm can that do? None. What harm can defensiveness and this and arguing and fighting? Oh, I go a lot of harm. If somebody's yelling, they have a problem. You are not going to change their problem by yelling back. That's what Lao Tzu said. A wise man never argues. For what purpose? Somebody's already got their mind set. They want to argue about it. You ain't changing their mind. So basically, you stay centered. You neutralize the moment. And then you step back and see, is there something I need to learn from this? Is there something I'm supposed to do about this? You do it out of peace. You do it out of clarity. You don't do it out of, I'm not able to handle it, I'm freaking out, therefore I have to do it. Nothing good will ever come from that. This is how you learn to get clean inside. And the more you're able to what we call transmute these energies. The energies come in, they're vibrant, they're difficult, they're hard. You bring them up. You bring them up. Then you will make very good decisions. And I'm telling you, you'll succeed at everything you do way better than you are now. You get clean inside. And where there used to be these emotions in the heart, there's just this constant rush of joy and love pouring up inside of you, out the top of your forehead and top of your head, just constantly flowing all the time. That is the highest emotion, is the joy of spirit, the beauty of your soul, of your being. Now deal with it. And you'll feel other things once in a while. There's some humanness there, but it melts in that flow. It melts in that energy flow. You start to feel some insecurity. It's too beautiful. I'm not going down there to hang out with that. And all of a sudden, it melts into beauty. Everything melts into joy. I don't want much for you, just everything. Don't settle for a beggar's life. Don't settle for way less than what you're capable of. You're capable of being filled with joy and beauty, spreading the joy and beauty. Sure, you're married, have relationships, make money. It doesn't matter. That's got nothing to do with anything. But you're not doing it because you're not okay. You're doing it because you are okay. You want to open a business and see what it's like to express yourself and do different things? Fine, have fun. Not, I have to prove myself. Right? The purpose of the business is not for you to prove yourself. It's for you to express the beauty and creativity that you have inside yourself. If you're an artist and you go out in the woods to paint a beautiful painting, you don't show it around. Do you like it? Do you like it? Oh my God, what if somebody doesn't like it? No, that's not an artist. That's a person trying to prove themselves through their art. An artist goes out there and who cares what comes out? It's just the fun of painting it. It's the fun of expressing themselves. Every moment of your life should be that way. That's called liberation. You're a free being. You're free to interact, to live, and you'll spread light and love everywhere. So the spiritual journey is quite different than the other, isn't it? Remember where we started? You stored all this garbage inside of you, and you're doing everything you can to manipulate the world so it doesn't hurt too bad. And every once in a while, something nice happens. No, you're not even living 0.5% of what you're capable of. So you change the direction. You call work with yourself. I want you to realize you have an inner environment, don't you? And if it's not beautiful, you did it. Fix it. Work with it. Jai Gurudev.